Hello, hello. Welcome. Hope you guys are doing great. Welcome back to another Friday live stream. And today we're going to be making some more music. I hope you guys enjoyed the background track that I just played. This is actually a start to finish that we did on the Patreon. It was a free episode long live stream series making this track from scratch. And yeah, I think it came out really, really sick. Right? You guys are liking it? Let's play it again. Let's go another round. Okay, I just had to do it a second time because that was too much fun. Anyways, that's the track that we made on the Patreon. So if you guys want to check that out, if you guys want to know how I made that track, you can go check that out on the Patreon. We did struggle at first with the drop a little bit in the beginning because we were trying to I was just messing around with some of the drop types, but this one I think came out really, really great. So if you guys are interested in learning how I made this from start to beginning, from beginning to end, you can do that on the Patreon. I have free, like, over 5-hour live streams on each. I think one is even 8 hours, which is quite crazy. But yes. With that being said, thanks everyone for hopping in. Let's get started with the live stream. Go back over to... I'll make the music a little bit quieter in the background. And I would say, let's switch up the colors a little bit. There we go. That looks a little bit more evil. And let's go ahead and switch. And let's make... I kind of have to stop listening to it myself, and like I still have a couple of things to polish on it, but I can't stop listening to it. It's so good. Anyways, with that being said, I want to go over a couple more things today, and I think we should probably do some heavy dubstep, maybe with a little bit of a color-based flair. We'll figure that out. But I do want to go over the benefits for this month. So this part. So good. I love it. Especially, I'm going to play this tune at Rampage as well. I think people are going to love it. Like, to be able to have like a color-based drop and then have a lead playing on top of that, and it actually works is awesome as well. And we also went over this whole like breakdown. So if you want to do some like neuro kind of stuff, I like this part. Super dry, but still melodic and full. And then you get the melody back in the background. And goes fades back to the heavy stuff, right? Really difficult to kind of do that, right? To fade between melodic and then dark again. I think I did this with both Be There and another track that I released in 2020. Forgot the name of it. Have you thought about making future rhythm Leotric style? I do have 2 tracks that are kind of like very future rhythm kind of style, and I do kind of have a first kind of EP set up and a single track that I'm going to be releasing on a label hopefully soon when I finish it this week, because I do want to get all of my music done for like ready kind of to be played out and to be listened to for Rampage, right? Which I'm playing with Paneyes B2B July 2nd. So it kind of forces me to finish everything, which is good. I like that. But yeah. With that being said, I do want to go over what is up for you, or what is in store for you this month. With the Patreon, because we do have a completely new thing now, which is Heap Racks. I think people were kind of looking at PHASEPLANT and they were like, when are you going to do this? Because like, if you think about it, with Heap Racks, what this allows us to do, and I'm going to go over this in a second, is it allows anyone in any DAW to use the same racks that I do for Ableton in any DAW. So if you are on FL Studio, if you're on Reason, on Logic, or anything like that, you just have to grab the kilohertz stuff and you can just use any of my stuff in any DAW, which is pretty crazy to think about, right? There's a lot of benefits this month. You get wavetables, you get samples, you get Heap Racks, you get a Ableton stock disperser as well. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff and I want to go over it. So with that being said, I'm going to switch over to number 2. And that should have been pretty smooth. Cool. I'm going to put this in the background. -32, around there. This isn't too loud for you guys, right? It's fine. Is it too loud? I'm going to turn on this chat as well. Kilohertz is best production tool. Oh, absolutely. So obviously we already talked about what PHASEPLANT 2.0 can provide for us, right? The whole ecosystem. But I do want to go over what is in store for the next sample pack, which is let me show you this. So this is the sample pack that you'll get, Patreon sample pack volume 4, with a really cool little design as well. I always do like the USB stick design for my stuff. I do all of the 3D stuff for myself, which is really cool because it allows me to do a whole bunch of cool stuff. And obviously, if you sub to the Patreon now, you will get everything from the past 4 months. So you'll get Patreon sample pack volume 3 over here, as you can see. I think maybe I can double click this. Probably not, right? Yeah, another little design there with a bunch of drum transients, like drum parts and stuff. You get in the second one, you get a whole bunch of like color rhythm kind of stuff, color-based stuff. And the first one that is more like oriented at just providing you with really good drum samples, which Volume 4 is as well. Volume 4 is a little bit different compared to the other sample packs, because this time around you get a whole bunch of kicks which are very trap inspired, and you get 15 snares, which are each 5 of them are different styles. And then you also get hi-hats, which I haven't done yet, right? So you get these really cool hi-hats here, and which are very, very useful. And you get 10 kind of like dubstep claps, I call them, right? Because I mean, you could use them in trap if you wanted to, but they're more inspired to be used in dubstep. And then you get all of these really cool sounding kicks. So all of these kicks, and they get harder and harder the lower you go. All of these kicks are supposed to give you pretty much any kind of variation that you would think of trying to fuse a dubstep kick with a trap kick. So all of these are really heavy and easy to use. And then on top of that, you get these tonal snares. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. You get these 5 tonal snares. So they have all of them have a nice little ring to them, and they're quite tight. And then you get 5 snares that are like a lot more distorted, I would say. Like they're pretty heavy. If you have a heavy mix down and you tend to turn up the snares that you use from me quite a lot, then you can use one of these 5. So those are all really heavy. And then the last 5 are more of your regular snares with long tails. So for example, if you have a snare like this, I'll do another channel here. I always leave a very long tail, so you can kind of just cut it yourself and then have a tighter snare like that. It's totally up to you. And then on top of that, you have these hi-hats. So if you want something that is a shorter ride anyways, you could just use these hats. And then you get these claps, and all of them are designed by myself, of course. Made from scratch with synthesis. And I think they all sound really cool. And they're trying to be like as loud and as loud as possible, which isn't usually something easy to do with claps. Claps can tend to be difficult to mix. A lot of claps. So here you can just drag these in and try out different ones, which is really cool. And then on top of all of that, on top of all of these drum samples, you get, and this is really cool. This is both for any synth that you have, right? If you have PHASEPLANT, if you have Serum, you can use them for any. I'm gonna load up PHASEPLANT. What we have here is wavetables. So you get a total of 30 wavetables, which is quite a lot. So let me just pull this a little bit closer. You get 10 complex I call them complex wavetables because usually people end up either like using a wavetable, and I can just load them up here. I have them already like put in here. So you can add a location, then you can add the location of the sample pack, and then you can just add the subfolder. And you can see all of them are really nice. So what they have inside of them as well is a layered sine wave, which means that you can kind of just load up, for example, complex 1, and then you can have under this group, and this is kind of like a PHASEPLANT thing only. You can have another filter in here and kind of just filter out the sub frequency. Maybe distort that sub frequency. Maybe we'll saturate. And then you can also send that to, for example, a different lane and use that as a separate sub. So now you don't need any separate sub anymore because the sine wave in here is consistently in there, right? Which is pretty cool. Obviously, you can still use a separate sub if you want to, but the idea here is that you can kind of just use the wavetable, filter out the sub, and then you use that again, right? Change profile. What's going on? Are you not Panda Eyes, or are you Panda Eyes? Are you imposter sus? But yeah, with that being said, let's listen to these wavetables, right? Because I think people are very interested in these wavetables. So we have 10 wavetables. I'm going to keep playing the music in the background, by the way. Oh my god, a little bit louder. We have 10 wavetables, which are complex wavetables. So these wavetables are basically recordings of a bunch of like different basses that I did, and then also bass glitches, because like bass glitches get you a bunch of really cool results. And these complex ones, I'm gonna make this even louder. They try to be basically as complex as possible without overdoing the amount of space that they have. So basically what this means is that they try to have a lot of variation in them without being too much, because I believe if you, for example, just use, like, you just dragged in, we could actually do this right now. Let's drag in, for example, maybe a bass glitch from over here. Let's do this one. If we just drag it in, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you have to be careful about when doing wavetables. Like the PHASEPLANT wavetable editor is amazing. It's to me personally, it's a whole lot better than the one in Serum. So if we go through, you can tell that it works, but there's a whole bunch of cleanup that you have to do, and then there's other parts in between that are just sine waves, and then they don't fit, and then you have to frame blend everything, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. And I managed to get a workflow done that enabled me to do a whole bunch of these, and also squarified versions. So obviously these are pretty heavy. Pretty gnarly sounds, right? PHASEPLANT isn't actually all that expensive. You can get a 10 bucks a month subscription for every kilohertz plugin, which is pretty nuts. So you get everything for 10 bucks a month, and then after 12 months, you get a $100 US voucher, so you can kind of actually buy the stuff that you rented, that you subscribe to. So these are like the 10 wavetables here. So you have a bunch of different sounds in here, and these are pretty crazy. I'm going to turn off the track here, and then you have on top of that, you have these squarified wavetables, which are more supposed to be used if you want to do an FM bass and you want to, for example, use something like unison and stuff to get more stuff like that. You can use the squarified ones. Usually, the reason why I usually don't like to use squarify a whole lot is because it makes everything sound quite similar. But luckily with these, you still get a bunch of really cool stuff. And then on top of that, you get 5 growl wavetables. So these are specifically designed to be used. They already have some like bend plus minus on them, so you can kind of just use them. You know, the kind of like how people tend to make also like use saw waves to make growl basses and stuff. You can kind of just use something like this, and it already has kind of the bend waveform to it, and then it has different variations in here that you can use. So you have different versions. And they don't have a whole lot of high end, as you can tell. And that's kind of the point. It's usually growled, so you wouldn't want to have too much high end in it. And then on top of that, you get 5 morph wavetables. So you get different states of sounds that I made. And you can even use this as like a more auto style. So if you, for example, could do that, we could go. You couldn't do it. It's really cool that they have those. Put it to smooth, because smooth is really... You can turn up maybe the unison. Really dope stuff. And then you have the next one, which is Morph 2, which is basically just a triangle FM, but it goes through different stages of FM. So if you want Terror Squad, if you want something more subtle, you can get something like that. And then you have a kind of like a bit crush ring mod kind of effect. And then you have a bunch of like weird yoi artifacts that I did. Very crunchy and bit crushy. And then you have a nice little like sync, which switches to a different instance here. So it has a bit of a more smooth. You can also use unison. So those are all the wavetables that you can use. And for example, this is something I love doing now, is I'll load up an LFO. I'll put this to sync, and I'll draw my own little shape here. What we can do, and this is super fun, is we can use another LFO and just put this to ramp up and add that to the frame. Maybe put this to 4.8. And then we'll use this 4.8 on the gain. And now you can tell if we use some post-processing, like for example in Power, and let's use the auto filter. Let's make this a little bit more open. So you can use these different positions in the wavetable, and you can get like multiple bass sounds out of one wavetable. If you wanted to like do a whole sequence, you can even do over the whole frequency of the whole wavetable. And we can just go through the different complex ones. This one's really nasty. The very first bass here is really nasty. Ooh, the very first hit here as well. And that's really cool because like you have these little sections in between where you don't really get much. So you have kind of like a intermodulation happening as well. So on top of the modulation that you're doing with the LFOs and stuff, on top of that you get the modulation happening inside of the wavetable, which is pretty nuts. And that's what you get with scarified ones. And this autofilter is pretty nuts. I think we did this in the last live stream, I believe. Or maybe I did this in the exclusive live stream for the Patreon, the PHASEPLANT live stream. But this is basically just a bandpass filter and a notch filter being modulated by an audio follower. So whatever the shape is that we're doing for the volume here, for the gain of our generator, is going to be then determining how these filters move. So we don't actually have to map any of these filters to our LFO, which is pretty nuts. We just have to do it to the gain, and then depending on how loud we make this, you can see how the modulation will be less or more. So that's pretty nuts, right? And of course, right now we're using the LFO and kind of like a free drawing mode here, as you can see it. And it kind of just simplifies it afterwards. But yeah, those are the different wavetables. And then the scarified ones, you can kind of use to add some more FM to it if you wanted to. You could add some FM like that, for example. Maybe switch it to hard. We can add a little bit of and then you can see that if we get to more noisy sections, it'll just kind of sound like noise. So you have to pick the more delicate sections for it to work. But yeah, that's kind of the wavetables that we talked about. And obviously you can use them in Serum. So if we open up Serum, you can just load them up in here, the N-Wavetables, and you can do the same stuff. We can use maybe a multi-band compressor with some soft clip afterwards. And then, we can use maybe like a high notch filter just to make it really quick and easy. We do a simple shape like that. And then we can just scan through the wavetable. Maybe turn on the sub. And as you can see here, it phases through the wavetable quite nicely. This pack is also a little bit bigger than the other sample packs because this pack is like 60 megabytes because all these wavetables are like super high quality. I think with you could actually, like, if you wanted to, you could probably use these as actual samples. That would be pretty fun if we like use them as samples and then maybe do like a LFO and let's just do something like that. Put this to sync and let's just automate the gain like that. And let's use an end power, which we're going to talk about in a second. And let's use a auto filter. So right now we have no samples loaded, but if we were to add the one of these complexes here, nice, you would get like a. This is an octave lower, but if you were to use that, and then maybe add some bit crushing, and maybe some disperser, and maybe some where is it? Convolver. Where are you? There you go. And then just use the noise phaser one because I like that one. You could probably get some really cool different growls out of it as well. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So that's another way you can use wavetables, I guess. You can just load them into a sampler. Ooh. It's nasty. What do the scarified ones sound like? And then these are the growl ones, so they're designed to be used for growls. So I could just show you, I could load up a wavetable and then use, for example, an wavetable growl. And you could add further modulation to that, for example, with a sine wave and just apply a little bit of phase to that. And you can see how it's just pushing things to the side. I do highly recommend using the remap band soft. If you want to further mangle these. We're probably using a little bit too much disperser. know, you could use those wavetables there as well. Obviously, you can use the complex wavetables as well. But they're more supposed to be used as like a, you know, as a quick way to get a bunch of different sounds done without having to do all of the sound design process, right? And on top of that, on top of the wavetables and the new samples, you get another really cool thing, which is a total of 3 racks this month. So if we take a look at the first rack, which is for Ableton, it's this little bad boy, which I call the N-Phaser. And it's N-Phaser with an O instead of a E, so it's not a phaser of sorts. This is a phase rotator, and that's why I call it rotator. And that's why I call it phaser, because it's like a phase rotator. You get it, right? So N-Phaser is basically supposed to be kind of like the alternative to the premium plugins out there that do it, like disperser and stuff. It's a pretty popular effect that is one of the reasons why people like OTT as well, is because it introduces this phase rotation at the at whatever the frequency separation is. And I've basically just used, for example, EQ8 in here, and I've had to, it was pretty painstaking. I did it very, very differently before. I had like 20 instances of it doing like each individually a different set amount, but I figured out that you could do it a lot easier. And yeah, that still took me like a day to figure out and stuff. But yeah, N-Phaser, what it is basically, let's take a drum sample or something like that. Let's go to offline sample packs, almond breaks. Let's use this one, for example. So what N-Phaser does is it just basically allows you to do the same thing that Disperser does, but a little bit more limited. And it's Ableton stock, so you don't need to like get something like Disperser if you really only want, if it's too expensive for you at the moment or something like that. This is basically the same thing. It behaves a little bit differently. I still believe that the Disperser from Colliers is still miles better, but as a stock alternative in Ableton, this is super useful. And this is what it sounds like. And the phaser amount here really determines, like, you can go from very subtle to extreme. And if you want to go even further, you can get even more extreme. And then, obviously, for the racks, I always have detailed descriptions on the Patreon and on the Discord. You can scan through the frequency spectrum. So usually I've mapped this to, or I've limited this to 30 hertz to 2000 hertz, because anything above that is just kind of turns into like a big notch filter. It doesn't sound all that great. But here, as you can tell, but for example, the lower region, if you use a little bit less, it sounds really, really good. And if we drag in, for example, a DS10 drum shaper to make this a little bit more tighter, like that, you can hear the effects. So if I turn it off, and you can really push this up with this. And as well, for bass design, it's super useful. So for example, if we have any kind of bass sound, like this one, and let's turn these off, we can use this. We can duplicate it. You have to be a little bit more careful on the high side, because it can like at too high frequency amounts, it can introduce a little bit of notch filtering. But you can tell the difference here. Let's put this one in here as well. So for example, if we have, let's use this very, very first bass sound. that's basically the disperse effect that we all know of. And now we have luckily we have a nice little alternative in Ableton. And I previously did want to do this using the hybrid reverb, but this is a pretty hefty effects unit. And even though you can import a impulse response that has that disperse effect on it already, and it will replicate it, but it'll only replicate it at the recorded frequency area. So I had to do this manually. So that's why Phaser exists, is because it just does the effect for you. Oh, why is it so low now? It should not be clipping at 0. That's some weird behavior. I'll have to check that out and probably update it. But yeah, you likely, there's no reason for you to have it at 0 anyways. But I'm gonna check out why it's clipping at 0. But anything else, you can just use it that way. And that is just the one Ableton rack. So right now with the Patreon, you're gonna get one Ableton rack a month and one Snap Heap rack. And this one's really, really interesting. So I've decided to start with a banger, which is, if you remember, let's load up, for example, PHASEPLANT here. Let's delete this. Can I not play it? Is it empty? Ah, it's empty, okay. Do I have another bass here? So let's load up this one. Let's remove all of the effects on it. So you guys probably know of my N-Power rack, right? And I've remade this inside of Snap Heap, and funnily enough, all you need is Snap Heap for this. So there's going to be new, what we do now on the Patreon is we do one Ableton rack a month and then one Snap Heap rack a month. But this month, I was able to include another Snap Heap rack, which is going to be very, very useful for you guys. So this is Snap Heap here. I'm going to just load it up. And we can actually just use the PHASEPLANT, but I'm just going to use Snap Heap inside of a Snap Heap because they don't have a minimized view yet. But what you get this month is NOTT and N-Power. And the way this works is with the requirements, it's a little bit different. So for example, with NOTT uses a multipass inside of it. But you can just have multipass installed and you have to own Snap Heap. So there's plugins that you need to own. And there's plugins that you can just have installed so that they will basically be a expired version, but they will still work inside of the, let me just reconnect. Oh, is it not detecting me? Hello? All right, there we go. Sorry about that. Let me check really quickly. There we go. Cool. You will have to own Snap Heap, but you won't have to own Multipass, which is, I asked the Colerts guys about it. They kind of know of this thing, and it's fine. So if you have Snap Heap, you can just kind of install everything else, even if it's like a demo, or if it's an expired demo, and you can still use it, which is really cool. So now you have NOTT. So if I play this, I'm gonna make this louder a little bit. And I try to really replicate the sound of it. So if you turn on the time, it becomes more compressed. And if you turn up the time, it's a lot tighter. If we can also try it on that same offline sample that we had here. Let's turn on the so if we load up Snap Heap, we can load up NOTT. Actually, do another Snap Heap inside of a Snap Heap. And then play it without it. Turn this up a little bit. You get the OTT sound. And you can also change the amount. You can change the time. So it just works like that. And then on top of the NOTT rack, you get N-Power. And this is a direct successor to the first N-Power rack, which is for Ableton. So if I load up N-Power rack as an Ableton rack, you can kind of compare these at a bit different volumes. So we'll have to check that out. So this is what N-Power sounds like. And this is what N-Power rack sounds like. So there's a whole lot less, it's more focused. It sounds less, like with N-Power rack, you would have to turn up the OTT time a little bit for it to clean up. And then with Snap Heap, you can do the same thing. So this is pretty cool. But the N-Power rack has a couple of updates compared to the N-Power rack for Ableton. So on top of having NOTT as a rack in here, the NOTT rack is inside of the N-Power rack as well. You get the same high quality OTT for kilohertz, right? For the ecosystem in here. You have a sub mono option here as well as the phase test. So this is basically the same thing as here. And then the mids and sides here has been consolidated to be one knob. So you have stereo, you can go -100, which is I think -12 decibels, plus 12 decibels, just for the stereo amount, starting from like 200 hertz. So let's turn this one off. And the idea is here that you use less knobs to kind of be able to still do the same thing that you do with mids and sides. So if you want to push the mids, for example, you would turn down the stereo and then turn up the output volume, right? If you want to push the mids, and you just turn this up. That's about it. And then drive is a very different distortion unit from this drive. So if we listen to this one, this is what drive here sounds like, and then drive in here sounds like this. So up to like 90%. It gets pretty dense, but then the last 10% are really heavy. And this is an overdrive distortion, so it sounds really like fat and like not like, it doesn't sound like pure digital distortion. It sounds really nice. And I have this drive in here for a good reason. You obviously get the same kind of limiter. Wait. Is what out yet? So you get the same limiter, but this one is actually a little bit more transparent than this limiter. So you get even more volume out of it compared to this limiter. And then on top of that, you have the Smart Clip. And the Smart Clip is a really cool sort of soft clipper that only really distorts the mids and the highs. So what it does is it limits the low end and then allows it to only distort the mids and the highs. And this is usually a pretty good practice, is because if you wanted to have the sub distort the mids and the highs, you can use drive. But if you don't want that to happen and you just want your sound to get louder without it being destroyed by the sub frequencies, you can turn up Smart Clip. And it's put it into practice, right? All of this is out of Nasco's Patreon. Yes. Yes. And then you can just load up Snap Heap inside of PHASEPLANT, load up N-Power. And funnily enough, installing this is super easy. All you have to do, if you have the .snapheap preset, you just have to open up Snap Heap and just drag it in, and then it'll work right out of the box, which is really awesome. And you can just save it. But yeah, so now you get an OTT, which already does a whole lot. And you can even double it, you can triple it if you want to. It sounds very accurate. It sounds very close to the original, which is awesome that we now have this. Because I did have something like, for example, you can compare these even. I had this post-processing rack that I just quickly made together, and you can just kind of bundle together with some stuff. That's what post-process sounds like. And then compare that to N-Power. which is a whole lot more clean, right? So you can add a little bit of drive, a little bit of limit, a little bit of smart clip, maybe a little bit more stereo, turn up the sub mono, turn up the OTT time and the OTT amount here. And you get a really fat bass. Finally, these serum days are over. Yeah, sort of. I mean, I'm just using PHASEPLANT from now on, right? And they also, funnily enough, they finally fixed the groups. So now if you load up a couple of effects, tapes up, it's not going to do anything. Let's load up distortion. Oh, and this is another thing that I noticed. I don't know if this was in the live stream, but if you want things like DC filter and dynamics and stuff turned off, or any effects turned off in any of the effects units, all of them offer default presets. So, for example, if I load up, let's look at one that I would want to change something on. Let's say I want to load up gain, and I want to have it at percentage all the time when I load it up. You could go in here and you could just save it as a preset. Call it, for example, I'm going to call it E. Save it, or let's call it init. And then I can just go here and just right-click it and go set as default. And now every time I load up a gain, it should then load up that preset, which is awesome. So you can have all of this stuff kind of set up for yourself. So, for example, if we have, let's do the pitch shifter. Let's say you usually like having the grain size be lower at like 20 milliseconds. You like having the compensation high, so you can mix it in. You can go in here, save it as init, and just go here and set as default. And then now every time we load up pitch shifter, it's directly set up the way you want it, right? That's pretty cool. I like that. But yeah, so now what you can do is, you can just load up a wavetable, for example. I'm going to load up the auto filter. I'm going to load up an LFO, put it to sync. I'm going to do a very simple waveform like this. Make it a little bit slower. Put that just to the gain because we get all of the filter automation from the auto filter. I'm going to load up an LFO, a ramp up. This is all stuff that you can just do if you have all of this, of course. I'm going to scan through the wavetable. I'm going to load up one of the N-Wavetables. And then I'm going to grab the N-Power rack from the Patreon, N-Power. Turn up the OTT time, turn up the OTT. And bam, I get a bass sound. Maybe I can add a filter here, turn up the slope a little bit to filter out the sub. And add a envelope. And send that to lane 3, and then also turn up the gain there. I can also try and push it a little bit if I wanted to, so I could add. Then there you go. Turn up the drive. We can even double the auto filter. Even though that's probably not going to work, so let's just leave that out. Even though we could... Yeah, it's just going to get messy. We could also like switch these, so we can switch it to a high pass. We could do maybe like a low pass here. It's that easy. It's really, really cool. And then, you can also do a complex sequence in here. So we can maybe stretch this out a little bit and start drawing like an actual like sequence. Maybe like that. We can use a squarified one. And it's really cool as well because the auto filter really like accurately kind of follows the gain automation here. That's really fun to do. Let's get rid of this one. mess around with the gain. And now we could just, you know, write a quick note. So we'll do like an E. This sounds a little stupid. And then we can do a, we can try out the new drums. So I'll go with the actual, I'm gonna go with the first. I like kick 04. I'm gonna go with a clap. I'm gonna go with this clap. And then I'm just gonna turn this up, turn this down, turn this down, turn this up. And then we can even try using the hi-hats. So we can try using maybe this hi-hat. And obviously now we don't have any sub, any sidechain, I mean, and then we're going to use drum rack and do a simple sidechain. I don't know why I still haven't done this. Let's do the sub first, and then we'll do the rest. I turned off the band. Why are you still? Oh, because this is still on listen mode. Okay. And then we can try out a different clap if we don't like this one. Like that one. Let's grab a different, I mean, another hat. That's a clap. Let's make these a little shorter. Like that. Now these probably need a kickstart on there as well. And we'll do a very, very quick one. Let's kind of delay these a little bit further. And now it just all depends on, you know. We don't have any stereo on it, for example, so we add a comp filter. Maybe we'll do a quick resonator sound, so we'll add a resonator and just put the macro on there. I'll do another one because I do want to have a double amount, and we'll put these to that. I'll add a slice EQ on here to kind of be able to filter out the high end. Maybe I'll put just one there, right? And then I'll turn up. I'll call this DC or D1. I'll call this D2. Switch these both. Turn up the intensity, maybe the decay here a little bit. I'll put all of this in the mix. And now I could just do, you know, I could do maybe 4. We do a little bit more. And we could try, you know, doing this up a little bit differently. So we'll put this to lane, we'll put this to lane 2, and then we'll put this to lane 3, and then this will go directly out to the master probably. And then we'll just distort the sub. We might want to use some kind of clipper at the end here. We solo this. And let's do a different... Let's add a pitch envelope to this. I think we'll trigger a pitch envelope using this LFO. So we'll trigger this, and we'll use this to pitch envelope the... oh, we can't pitch envelope the sub. Welcome. We'll use a separate sub for in that case then, because we do want to add a little bit of pitch bend to this. So we'll do on the semi-sub, and then we'll do this on here, and this goes up to lane 3. Let's turn on the... and And then we'll do a right click on the gain here and we'll turn off the remap. Ooh, look at that. As easy as that. And we'll do a noise and we'll do a filter. Filter was at the top end. We can turn up the dynamics to make it more extreme. We should probably also have the have this follow it. Maybe add a little bit of a notch filter and distort it. Now we have a nice little separate sub inside of our whole project, and we can kind of just go here, maybe add a slice EQ and play the other sound as well. Unsolo this. Turn this up. Now here's the thing though. There's another thing to the N-Power Rack that you have. So if you open up the N-Power Rack, you have access to a free band EQ. So you can change the, you have a very, very simple EQ here to do some quick and dirty changes. For example, you could take out the sub and then, you know, drive it and stuff. Because here's basically chain 1, just like in the N-Power Rack, and then you have chain 2 over here. So that's kind of how it works. This goes directly into the distortion. The distortion goes into the limiter, and then the limiter goes into the smart clipper. So if you, for example, wanted to distort it, you can turn up the sub and get a whole bunch of really cool stuff like that as well. You can also keep it cleaner. And then if you have slice EQ, you don't have to have slice EQ, and this is kind of why I put the free band EQ in there, is so that you have the option to further kind of like clean this up. I think this already probably is, yeah. So this is really cool that it saves this this state. So this is already zoomed out. Usually when you add a slice EQ, you would have to go to this magnify icon, and then you can zoom out like this, and then you can do much more extreme amounts of EQing. So for example, now you can go down to minus 30 decibels, which is quite a lot, but you can much more easily, for sound design, this is a lot better because you have a lot more control over how much you want to do. So this is what I did with the slice EQ, that you can just kind of add this to really fix problem areas. I think you can even right click on this, and I believe I think there was a silence mode. I'm not sure. I don't see any, but you can just find these problem areas and then, you know, just work them out like that. So you have further control, kind of just like in the N-Power Rack, which is pretty cool. So you can just close that up. If you don't want to use it, don't use it. If you want to use it, open this up, and there you go, right? And now obviously we can start working on the sound. So we can change around maybe the I still don't like the way this sounds, so maybe we'll do like a bum bum bum. I think we should add probably another decay here, another decay option. And now, depending on how we set the gain, we can also try maybe getting rid of any of the sub here. I think you can actually just use the filter and just do high pass. But for the sake of it, we should probably keep it. I'm going to load up a multi-pass and just use a frequency shift on here. How cool is that, right? So these are in parallel, which is nice. And this one should have to have it mixed at 50. Even though we are using it at parallel, so this is coming through as much as this one. Which is actually not supposed to happen. We need to turn off the parallel. There you go. We were not supposed to use the parallel. So you have basically this delay happening. And then you have this other delay kind of like mixing in and just kind of messing with it even further. And then obviously we can go back in and just kind of draw whatever we want. And we can even change the phase of it. Let's go in here and add an LFO, put it to ramp down, add just a little tiny bit of it to the frequency shifter. Sync it. Do even less. We can even try the normal one, so the normal complex here. But you can see how the squarified ones are a little bit more. So you can even do that, you know, like right now we are just using an LFO, but we can't really get any more stuff happening there. So what we could do is we could just use an LFO table instead. So we'll just have a clean kind of line going at 100%. And then we'll automate this LFO amount here with another LFO. And this time it's the LFO table. We'll put this in. We'll put that to that, and then we'll just draw our little thing here. And that's it. And then the cool part is that we can copy this wavetable. And I finally figured out how you can actually go to the second LFO table here. What you have to do is you have to hold Shift, and then you can go to every single one of these. So if we hold Shift, we can go to number 2, and we can go, and we just copied the waveform. We can paste it here as well, and click Done. And then we can just add our last little note right here. That sounded really cool. Click Done. And now you have basically frame 1, which is the very first one, and then you have frame 2, which changes it. So what we could do is we could have this probably play out a little longer, like that, and have this play like this. And then we can grab an LFO, put it to sync, put it to a whole bar, and then we'll just use the sequencer here, or this stepped draw tool, And let's do maybe only 4 grids. So we're gonna have it down and then up there, and then we can just switch it to frame number 2. We can hold shift and we can see that we're now switching from, you can see it in the blue there, from table 1 to table 2. And now it should technically work correctly. I think we would actually have to go even slower. Yeah. We are repeating the note here, so that needs to be turned off. Another thing that we could do actually that's a whole lot simpler, instead of having this be dependent on the note input, we're just going to put it to never trigger from note on. And there you go. Let's make this a little bit, and we can actually change this as well. So if we go to frame number 2, we can do a whole bunch of more stuff here, for example. So we can do bump, bum, maybe make this one a little bit more open. How cool is that, right? It's so easy. And then with N-Power, you don't need any more post-processing. This is all you need. Like, we can compare it to, you know, UPP as well. Like, if you compare it to UPP, this is what you get out of UPP. And then this is what you get out of N-Power. If we switch back to N-Power. There we go. Is it switched to N-Power? So it's super clean. We can go with a different wavetable. We can even try one of the morph wavetables. I'm not going to move through the frame. You can try some unison, maybe lower the detune. How cool is that, right? We can even try and automate the amount of OTT time here. Let's further turn up the time here for the sub. So we'll do... this is still... Okay, this is using the right one. Let's maybe smooth it a little bit. We can even use the triangular FM here. Let's actually add another noise, put it to stereo, and then randomize it. I think we have to do the same thing here. And then we're going to send this, we're going to add a filter. We're going to send the same default table here to, we're going to use, I think now we can just use this. And just add a little bit more noise to it. And we can even, like, technically speaking, you could kind of just pitch this around if you wanted to. We can try this one. Let's add a little bit more. Maybe add a little bit of disperser to the sub. Oof. Ooh, okay. And then the yoi ones are also really cool. You can even try and automate the frame here a little bit. Did he go over the Power Patch, or is it a Patreon thing or something? Yeah, it's a Patreon exclusive. Right. Ooh, look at that. So sick. And then we can try morph number 5. Look at how clean this is, right? This is so much cleaner now with the Empower Rack. You can just have the processing be super clean. And maybe we can add a convolver as well. And we'll add a phaser. We can also duplicate the LFO table, and instead of using the gain here, we'll just use this new LFO table. Actually, this one's and then what we'll do, we'll go ahead and actually make these a little bit more open. So we're just going to do them like this, like that. Yeah. So we're just gonna gate them like this. Actually, this last one we might want to change. So we're gonna go to undo, which is pretty nuts that we have this as well. So let's undo. Oh, I'm gonna guess that. Oh God. Yeah, we can't undo that anymore, I guess, but we can still go in here. We do have a little bit of an issue though. No, we actually don't, because this LFO table is still triggering the envelope that does the pitch that does the pitch bend. That's crazy, right? That you can do like trigger an envelope with an LFO. That's pretty nuts. Tame the high end here a little bit. Zoom out. Listen to how fat that is. This could be something else as well that we could do. Let's grab an LFO table and put that to sync, and let's just automate the frame. I want to use flow peaks. Make this slower. Let's go ahead and kind of distort this a little bit so we can get a little bit more extremes out of this. Or maybe we go with mitoses. And there you go. Super clean stuff. And then you could save that, and you could save that preset, and you know, we could also resample it. Like we could just go 11. And that's what you can see. Now, we do have a V-clip on here, so we could, technically speaking, what we could do is we could grab a group, and the bypass group actually works now. So if we put these in here, we can do some really fun stuff. Let's put all the stuff in here. We can call this effects, right? We can open this up again. We can minimize all of these. And let's add this as well, add this as well. Minimize this, and we can grab this over. This is still a bug. It seems like when you grab a group here and put it somewhere else, it kind of just opens, but it doesn't actually open. So maybe having it open will fix that. Yeah, okay. That's probably something that I still have to fix. And then we'll have the end power down here, and then the slice EQ will probably be before, actually. And what we could do is we can now move all of the sub stuff, and we'll actually make another group. We're going to call this sub, like that. And we'll put all of that stuff in here. Minimize it, just so we have a little bit more of a clear spot. And I'll show you. Let's send both of these to lane 2. And this needs to be sent to lane 3 now. This as well. And I show you that the group bypass now actually works. If we bypass this. And I wish you could actually save groups. That would be so cool if you could save groups. And then just load them up as well, right? So we could minimize them. That would be really fun if we could do that. There's a lot of potential there. And then on the final one, we can just add like a transient shaper and turn on soft clip, or we could do a distortion unit. On saturation. Or hot clip. Kind of distort it together, right? And then let's add a final. And then if we take a look at the output, that's what it sounds like. And you know, we could also turn this into color base if we wanted to. And there's a really interesting thing that I figured out a while ago, is that if you take a single hit, for example, like let's take this single hit, right? And I've noticed, if you want to kind of combat some of the quirks of like something like retune or something like M-Morph, you can do one very, very specific thing. You can put this to Complex Pro, whatever bass shot that you have. Let's add a MDP rack. And let's add a retune. And we'll use an E. What exactly is the sub distorting? We're not in the sub area. Anyways, so when we have that, and we have all of that kind of like, turn that into this. Doesn't seem to like the sub there, because it's probably changing the sub because it's a pitch bend. But if we have the sub there, what we could technically do to kind of like, oh god, that was a voice crack. What we can do to kind of combat that weird resonant tail that we usually get from something like M-Morph, something like any of that kind of processing that does this like smearing. What we can do is we can, once we have this on Complex Pro, we can resample it. So we go to 12 audio, and then what we do, and this is really cool, is we just double the time. So we put it to 300, actually half it, so 75. We play it slower, but then also the retune has more time to kind of play the sound. and like process it. And now when we put this back to Complex Pro and put it back to 150, we get a little bit more artifacts and stuff happening, as you can clearly hear here. But the resonance is a little bit shorter. Now, there's other ways you can kind of fix this. You know, you could also have an envelope follower in here that would then maybe change the bandwidth. Like that. Maybe we could change the amount. So, for example, we can maybe mess around with the center frequency. Stuff like that. So we can still do that, but this is another cool. This doesn't sound quite that great though, but it did notice in very, very fast sounds it worked quite well. Like if we go. Like a sound like this, where you can't really hear, but where you can hear the resonance, and you can hear the smearing. Like if we were to record this, we would get smearing and stuff. We could technically go down to 75, and then record that, and go back up to 150. And then you get a much shorter, cleaner sound, pretty much, right? So that's something that we can do if you want to try that out. Let's also add a different hi-hat for the first hit. So I'll do this one. I'll just kind of switch in between those two. And now we can just, you know, try out maybe switch this to a snare. Maybe pick a different, a little bit harder of a kick. Let's go with the first snare right here. And again, if you want to go with a very, very hard snare, you can pick one of the 6 to 10, I believe. Those are heavy. So let's actually distort the... I think what I'm going to do now, from now on, honestly, I'm going to try and just work with snap heap. So instead of loading up any of the effects that you would usually use, I'm literally just going to load up a snap heap, and that's it. And for example, now let's say we wanted to boost the this stuff a little bit harder, so we can just put up the smart clip. So in here, let me turn on the sub. I do not have any sub anyways. That's not really that good. Like it should have a sub. I think we probably need to cut this out because we don't want the OTT to interfere there. And there we go. Now, final output, we'll add a filter. Cool, and then we can obviously try different ones. I hear a little bit of like a pew pew pew. The air cooling system in my background is really loud. I can't hear shit. It's probably the convolver, but there's some other like can also limit the band limit here. It usually doesn't sound the greatest, so I'll just do a simple. There we go. And then we can still mess around with, for example, the delays here. You have a fat sound. Really fat. You can also do a bunch of like the smart clip, for example. You can do that yourself. So instead of using the distortion here, we could grab a multipass. If you own multipass, we can turn off the band 4. Maybe a trumpet shape into the middle here. And for example, now you could start pushing the midband. Or make it quieter. It's really awesome stuff. And we can even try turning off any of the metallic sounds and stuff. So you can see how you can get really heavy. You can even try a Foreman filter. It's even like scrolling through the wavetables, you can see. Maybe turn on the convolver. Let's grab the LFO table that we have here and then also turn up the Q. And instead of this moving, we can also try adding a disperser to this whole thing again. And then maybe switch out the snare drum. I mean, this is a softer one. This is just so hard. Let's add a snap heap in here as well, and we're gonna further try and make this loud. You can also pick the normal ones here in the end. So you can just experiment with that. You can add the cymbal loops in here as well. Maybe add a kickstart to it. We just make this a little bit louder. So let's copy over the snap heap. We need to further delay this. And funnily enough, you could also use the you could use snap heap as an LFO tool as well. So if you load up snap heap, for example, we'll add a gain, we add a percentage, so we can put the percentage down to 0. And add an LFO, put it to sync, maybe put it to 1.4, like that. Kind of save this as a preset, and then put this to 50%. And now we have an LFO tool. We have to have this before the kickstart here. Oh, we can't see the waveform though. So that's still a big advantage to this LFO tool. But we can definitely do a whole lot more in here though. And then you can just, you know, start messing with more stuff here, which is awesome. I haven't tried any retune on this yet. It doesn't work because it's too much like pitch modulation happening here. Can you do some sound design with M-Morph? I did do some M-Morph stuff in some exclusive live streams, but I can, for example, show you how I will use it here. I would probably want to get rid of any of the frequency shifter modulation. So I would just kind of have it clean. So we'll just have to find everything that's changing. Looks pretty clean now, though. Let's turn on the envelope decay. Like what we could do now is we could go to volume 2 and maybe pick one that's in E minor. And let's load up. Oh, it's nasty. So what we could do is we can load up an NBP rack, put it on there, and then load up M-Morph. And then we'll do the sidechain from 13 BFX. Switch, swap I and B. And then we have something like that. So we do like a... And then we go lower. We can, you know, this is now post, obviously, because we don't have any post-processing before it. We can try turning down the latency a little bit. You can try maybe... We can go to the edit button here, go to utilities, and this looks all a little bit scary, right? Because it's a different interface and stuff, but you can kind of just ignore most of this stuff here. Are we on the... Am I on the strongest mode here? Because... I'm not. Okay. What we can do is we can enable modulator 1, and we can switch this to a follower. Turn on the attack, turn on the release, and turn on the RMS length a little bit. And we can start adding macros here. So we'll do learn, and then we'll move the this button here. We'll hit learn again, and then we can turn up the... We can change the maximum value and the value. So for example, the maximum value would actually have to go down. And now it should work. We need to turn on. And now with the NBP rack, we have the option to filter it in anywhere we want it to be, right? And we can obviously pick a different sound. For example, if where do we have the retune thing? We'll just copy retune. We'll put this on here. We'll use a different one. Whatever we use in here. We can even try and add a snap peep. Maybe we'll add an power rack in here to further. And you can even do your own stuff. For example, we could do like a really cool trance progression. So we do like a scale, E, minor, and we'll do something like this. And maybe we'll loop it starting from, we'll loop it from here. And we'll copy this over. No, we actually don't need the, we don't need any of this. That's awesome. We'll just go to the sidechain 13. Okay, we need a faceplant in here first. Add a faceplant. We'll go sidechain 13 faceplant. We'll listen to this first. I think this sounds so weird. What the hell? Let's add an analog. And then we can do... maybe something like that. And then we'll do... maybe we'll have this one lower. This note seems to not be, work there. And now this, for example, we would want to go in here and unison, hard mode, turn up the phase randomness, add another one, change the detune, and just turn this on. And maybe play these a little higher. Make them stereo, of course. Add another one. Maybe play it out an octave higher. Let's add a snap peep and let's do an power. And let's get a trance gate in here. And then maybe we can do a little thing here. this is number 1, right? So we'll do like that. That makes no sense. Let's do something like this. Maybe add a little bit of an envelope to the pitch. Let's do the master pitch. We can go minus. We'll go plus and then. Let's get rid of the sub. And then when we play it together. You basically get that, right? So what we could do is we can maybe play these a little higher. Like that, and maybe you can start adding some cool, you know, some cool delay. And mix that whole thing in. I mean, we can try take a resample from that, right? Now you can just take this part, and then we can turn this off, and turn this off, and then instead of taking the sidechain from the PHASEPLANT channel, we just take it from 14 audio. We can even make this whole thing slower. How's it playing right now? That's still doing the transgate here. You set up the ducking? Actually, have it off. Record that. And maybe we could just use that as well. And then we can even like potentially loop a certain section and make it sound very sampled. Turn up the retune on here. Oh, I think we have to... What do we have in the channel? 14 audio. Ah, so this needs to move up. Let's turn up the quality a little bit because it's definitely suffering from it. And maybe we don't want it to affect the sub anyways, so we're going to just grab an auto filter here and have that be inside of it as well. So we'll just do a high pass at around there. Duplicate that, kind of have the sub separate it. And we can even go into our sample here and obviously start manipulating that as well. And then let's add some back effects from volume 2. How cool is that, right? You know, you can go in here and maybe change the, you know, the face of this. So we will also change the sub position here. But I think we'll keep it. And then let's just add some LFO tool. Let's take the very fast one that we had as well. So I'll double the speed here again. So we'll do that and we'll record that as well. And maybe have these be a little higher as well. So that probably sounds a little nicer. And maybe make these a little bit shorter, right? So we'll do... And we'll just have that in the background as well. So we'll just go down here and add that. Let's make this into a group. Grab the LFO tool, put it there. And then we can just mess around. Don't mess with that. And we can even have this like duplicate, and then maybe we can do a cool little, like a simple one shot, like a bomb, 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 bomb. So we'll go into the LFO tables and we'll find a good position here for that. And we can even just make this slower, so we'll put it to 4/4 and just move it closer. And then we'll have something like this. And we can even mess around with the pitch bend here. So we'll maybe add a simple, let's add a simple LFO, put it to sync, and make it as long as the other one, and then right click it and go never trigger. Make it even slower. And you know what? To be honest, we could literally just take this, put it here, and we could do this all in one patch. Like, we can literally go in here and just change the speed of this, right? So, for example, we could go macro, change this until this says 8. Go to this LFO tool and add this LFO table. Do the same thing, and we just automate the macro. So we'll just do like. And then on top of that, we're also going to change the phase of this to be. We have to move it to one direction, of course. So we'll. Like that. And now we could just, you know, do the same LFO. So we'll just grab a ramp down and then just kind of stop it there. Go 8/4, do about there, and then we can kind of just macro the amount here as well. So we can just turn that down. And then have the macro up. And right click this again, no trigger, never trigger from node on. And then you have that all in just one patch. So you don't even have to do any resampling. That's crazy. This sounds a little annoying, so maybe we can. Oh, you can probably just high pass it. We should do that anyways. And the great part about like doing it all on one patch is that we can just change it. So I feel like what PhasePlant really allows us to do is to really say like, hey, I want to make a drop, and I really want there to be one sound that I focus on, and that I can change, right? That I can just constantly change and evolve, and it's just like the one main patch. And I remember doing something similar to that with one of my presets from like a year ago, one of the Bass Forge presets, and I think it was. I think it was called Modulate Me or something like that. Or Do It Yourself. Do It Yourself, yeah. So if you so instead of having like an LFO doing a certain rhythm, you can just use this bass. And you can no, you can just kind of like do your own stuff with it, and that's like it's like a main bass. I feel like now with 2.0, it's even better. I wonder if we can kind of change around the melodies here. Like if we grab a retune, whether we can go in here and kind of change around the. Kind of like that, but then I want to use an MBP to kind of not focus on the high end. And now I can change the note, so I can put it up here. Like that, for example. That's awesome. Just the fact that I can do this. And you can hear it in the background, so we can go. That's awesome. I didn't even realize you could like kind of incorporate both of them in that way. Maybe you can even change the note here. Wow. Oops, now we have two snares happening. Fat, right? And then of course this is like a full-on like sound here, so that's probably why the morph is just kind of constantly playing here. So what we could do in that part is we could probably take a LFO tool and kind of just enable it for this section. So we'll just do like a simple like that. And then maybe here as well, we can kind of just change around the note again. Go back into retune and then just... How dope is this shit, right? It's... And obviously we could also use the like, groups here, so we can call this LFOs, and we can grab another group in here and call this envelopes, so envs. But even though we only have one envelope, maybe this will help us kind of clean up this whole thing. We'll just add everything in here, and this one as well, like over there, over here, and then we can just do that. Undo. And again, we can just freaking change the wavetable. And we can also just pick maybe like the triangle one. About the frame. Probably this one though. Maybe we can have a... Oh, what the hell was that? Did I press here? No. What was that? I just pressed something. Ah, probably here. Okay. We can probably even add a retune after the before this morph. And do an E, chromatic, minor. Something sounds off though. Like we obviously we'll have to change these again, and I think someone actually, I think in the Nascode, I think he had this thing where you could do MIDI, so we could take MIDI input, or we can do a MIDI output to 12 PHASEPLANT, and we can just grab retune, and then we can kind of just set the notes that we want to do, right? So. Sounds a little off. Like something is not right. I mean, if you can write the notes here for whatever the key is that you're playing. So depending on how many notes you add. Now, I'm not sure why it would even like decide. When it decides to do where? So it's a little, I'm a little lost with this system because that looks pretty accurate now though. It seems like, okay, so that's how many, like how it will separate it. So we will have one note. Probably just put it in E then. Or... And now what we should be able to do is we should be able to move this one around. So we'll listen over here. And then we'll do a low one. And then I think here we have to change. It's a little bit odd. I don't always understand what exactly it's doing. I mean, this is also weird now because. So these need to be up like here, and then it needs to go down. obviously this is way too much, right? We're doing way too much here. I'll probably keep out the retune at this point. And then here we can probably just repeat it like that. So we can also mess this around. And then obviously we can mess around. We can go into the M-morph and maybe mess around with the latency. I definitely prefer the like M-morph kind of sound to it. Here we could even try a little tape stop. Why not, right? Let's add a macro to this. Let's turn it off so we can kind of turn it on and then turn it off here when we want to. And turn up the stop time. Even try having that like before the post-processing. Let's see what happens. Minimize this, put this over here. Interesting. And then you can add other stuff like a boom boom. Maybe like a decay up. So write a simple note. Turn this on. Turn up the unison, turn it to heart, turn this up, turn the phase up, turn the spread up. Let's add an ODT to this. This reverb needs a little bit more of a sound to it, so I'll grab a chorus. And let's do a reverb now. Let's do a filter, let's do an envelope, let's do it as a curve. And we'll make this a little slower. And then we'll just do a sample thing like this. Put that to the filter. Let's add more of them. Maybe have the OTT before. Let's add an envelope and put that to the master pitch here. Turn this down. I want to add more chaos to this, so let's turn all of the tunes up. Let's add an ensemble. Add distortion to it. Where's that little click coming from? Probably from the envelope here. So we'll do maybe delay on it. Where's that little click coming from? Maybe it's coming from the, might be this weird bug. And there you go. And then you can just mess around with that. Yeah, so my background effects is in a different key, but I do have a retune on there. Actually, no, this one's not in a different key. play this again. Using vocoder or pitch map? I'm using M-Morph. This is what it sounds like without it. And maybe we can even do like a second sound, right? So we can just duplicate the patch and then do something else. Instead of doing like a growly kind of thing, we'll switch this over for this this one. Turn on unison. But I do think that this one might need actually need a retune on there, because it does sound a little bit too. Oh, there's also weird. Now let's try a clap instead. Instead of this fat snare, let's try a clap. There you go. We can also put a I do definitely not like this down here, so I think we should probably just copy this. And there we go. Let's turn this on. There's already a door. Okay. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna get rid of this part. I'm gonna duplicate this. I kind of just want to have it super clean. Yeah, do hear something in the background. This doesn't quite feel right. So it's. I hope I never picked a D. Did I pick? For some reason, did I do that? No. E. That's M morph. Oh no, did I do? Yeah, E minor. Okay. Next to high end a little bit. I can't put this into the group anymore. What the hell? Okay, I can't put this into the group anymore. That's weird. That's probably a bug. Oh, this is just not open, that's why. Oh, that's definitely a bug, yeah. Let me go in here. Let me edit the, There's like someone in the background. Oh, is this off? Oh, this is off. Okay, I see. There we go. Oh, this has to be before. This is correct. And it does still not sound... Oh, it's probably just the wavetable at this point. Oh, we're editing the wrong one. Oops. And now we really gotta mess around with the latency here. So you can tell how, like... write it down, like that. Then we'll put this to polyphony 1, legato, glide. And we'll switch this out, turn off the loop. Are you putting retune on the cymbals? That's not going to do anything. How much is M-Morph? I think 150, but you can get it cheaper and with some discounts. Turn up the speed here. Let's add that to the master pitch, and then we'll do an envelope that'll just kind of turn up over time like that. And then we'll just apply that to put that to plus, and then turn down the total amount. Yeah, kind of like that, right? And turn that up an octave. Let's add a little bit of reverb to this. So we'll grab a quick chorus, grab a quick reverb. Some like background stuff. I like this one more. I'm still a little confused as to what's happening with the background effects. It all sounds a little bit crazy, like something is off in the timing. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of grab everything and resample 30 group. That'll make it a lot easier to work with this. So I'll grab these two snap peep and everything. I'll just delete this and I'll just put that onto this group and obviously get rid of the input. Sounds a little bit more accurate. Even though it actually feels like we would probably have to just like delay this, like this. Or what we could do is we could just have it like this and then kind of just delay the whole channel with an align delay. That probably makes a little bit more sense. That's an auto pan, it's not an align delay. It just kind of yeeted itself off again. Great. Let's put it at 26 probably. Now it's very cut off. There we go. Let's add a nice little noise layer with a filter, turn up the stereo on the random. You can also try and distort this. Even though it's not going to do much on a square wave anyways, right? You could try some kind of convolver maybe. Also, this doesn't have any filtering, which makes it sound too bright. Let's add a convolver in here and then try and mess with the phase a little bit. Another thing that we can do is we can kind of just pitch down the sub an octave for that particular part. So we'll go minus, and we'll just right click this and just type it in. We'll type in -12. So we can kind of just turn on this macro when we are those really high notes while the wavetable kind of stays up, but the sub goes down, if that makes any sense. Wow, it's nasty, holy shit. And now we just kind of write some kind of melody on top of that, because we can actually do that. But I think we'll have to use another 9 delay here to kind of just delay the melody as well. About 40 milliseconds. And maybe we'll do like a... Let's kind of loop this part. So now we can just really mess around with the melodies and kind of give it a awesome. I mean, this sounds really cool now. And now we can still like kind of control how much of the sub we want. Oh my god, this tracking thing is really broken. You guys need to tell me when my helmet is a little cuckoo. I'm not sure why this is always happening. It's really weird. There we go. I think we're back. We got some unison. Let's do only 2 notes so we can have a left and right situation happening. Actually, we could probably just use the spread. And we can go into the LFO table for the sub, and we can actually like, we can go in here and kind of make these longer. We can make these last longer. So we can, for example, you know, grab it like this. I'm pretty sure you can even layer some kind of vocal now. Like, you should be able to layer some vocals now. You can maybe pick some Kara vocal, for example. Like this, for example, 145. Should totally work. See, it totally works. Let's see this. Let's add a retune to this voice so we can kind of mess around with the notes as well. Let's go with E, chromatic, minor. Let's try an octave up. Probably a little bit too much. Should probably just keep it clean. We could try different ones as well. Like we can go type that shit back in.
I believe in you. Take me home. I wanna see the light. I can take your pain away. I can take you.
Like this one, for example, is really cool. I remember this one being really, really cool. Put it to 160. And then we put it, I believe over here. And then we just have to find the right key. And now we can go in here. But here we could probably go in and go to the envelopes, clip, transposition, and then maybe switch this one up. can add a little bit of a tail from maybe one of the claps here. So the snare, I mean the snare tails. Maybe this one will sound quite nice, and we'll go in here and we'll just kind of layer it in as well. When we have the kick and the clap and the kick and the clap happening. So we have a longer tail and it kind of just plays out for a longer time. Let's also add a convolver to this and let's see what we can kind of get. Maybe glitches? Again, morph is so important. If we turn off morph, I think we need to go back to the transposition. And then we go to the transposition, we go. Let's copy over the retune here. I want to try and add a second. Let's put it back down. This is cool, and then we can, we can take the melody here and we can start building a intro from it. We can even take the bass notes that we've been playing here and do a Control J, PHASEPLANT, add another PP on the top one, hit new. And then we just delete these notes and just duplicate that. Legato, new. And then we get something nice like that. Or maybe use a sampler here, maybe use a mallet. Oh, nice. Pitch it up an octave. automate this. Look at how accurate this LTT sounds. It's not even funny. Let's automate the detune here, make it higher when we go up the octave here. And then we get that. I really like the, I think it's both the laser sweep down. Let's listen to that. But I like the Hamilton Mausoleum a lot. Now, awesome. Sounds great. I love it. Maybe we can even like delay one of these so we can use the delay function in the envelope. We could probably add a sampler and do a transient. Ooh, okay. And then we delay one of them. So probably the upper one. Whoa, that's a long ass reverb. Holy shit. You can put it on loop and do. Yeah, there we go. That's how we can kind of delay it and then make this short. like a kalimba sound. Let's go ahead and edit this bass sound a little bit more. Sounds awesome. But I do want to go in here and maybe mess around with the amount of noise that we have. You can go into the slice EQ and start editing. Sounds more like a post problem with the M-Morph, so maybe we'll... You didn't know these existed? What existed? Oh, these samples. You can even add a nice little frequency shifter in here. So we'll do a snap heap group and we'll call this the speed. And we'll add a frequency shifter. We'll have to put this in parallel and turn this down 50% on the mix. And then depending on the speed that we want to do, so for example, if we want to turn this up, let's say the maximum is 6 Hertz, this would mean that we would have to grab another frequency shifter and turn it down a minimum of maximum of -3. Oh, this is doing -3. And then we can automate that speed parameter. We'll probably have it. Let's go a little faster than that. Let's do -6 and let's do 12 here. So we'll type in 12. And then it sounds pretty cool. This is sort of harder. Switch this out for a snare drum. do this one. Let's copy over the snap heap, just so we can kind of distort it. There we go. And you can add the clap here. No, these don't have a drum rack. Oh, wait. Perfect. You can also go to the clap here, to the layered clap. We can delay this, fade this in a little bit. And we can probably add a little bit of a limiter on here. Let's grab a slice EQ as well. Let's do... It's a pretty wide sound because of the convolver here. I think we could probably add a snap heap. Add the same convolver in here, so we'll do with the mausoleum or whatever it was called. Mausoleum. Have the mix at 100%. I can still hear some of the original sound, so maybe we want to actually double it. Triple it? Oh, okay, that's a little crazy then. Let's run it through a reverb beforehand. I'll just have it the reverb 100%. Right before. Like that. So cool, like Snappy was so OP. Anything you want to do in here. It's actually so fast. We can even grab an audio follower. Grab it from, let's say, lane 1. And send that to the... but do it in reverse. So instead of having this up, we'll do a plus, so whatever amount we want. And then we'll do a reverse. It's basically a sidechain then. It's really nice that it shows you the maximum amount there at 0%. It's like a... It's sidechaining itself inside of a freaking patch, which is ridiculous. That's crazy that we can do stuff like that. Let's load up a convolver. Perfect. And obviously we can like switch out the marimba for something else. Like the snarden. Even that sound is pretty cool. It's a very tight, like guitarish pick. Oh, they have an actual marimba here as well. We'll just... I like this one the most. That's repeating though, which I don't really want, so let's turn this off. That's a cool effect. I'm pretty sure we can even add another cool effect here. Like, we have a nice little... I think what we could do there is we can probably do like an auto pan. Now, we don't have an auto pan in here, but what we could do is we could add a gain knob and add another LFO, put it in here, and then we'll put it to sync 16, and then we'll turn this down and put it to 50%, and then we get this. Like that, but faster probably even. Like that, and then we'll just kind of turn that on when we need it, right? So, we'll actually leave it like this. I wish we could actually like automate the bypass of something. That would be so sick if we could do that. I think we'll have to do an extra... how do we do this then? Delete it. Or we could do it the opposite way. No, that wouldn't work. Oh, it would actually work, yeah. Oh, look, we could do this. Let's snap it. We could just do this. Do plus 100 and then do minus 50. And then we can just modulate the amount here. So if we just want it to be in this part, then we just do that. How cool is that? I really want FacePlant. I can't afford it. It's too much for me. I mean, is the monthly subscription too much for you? Like the $10? Because you can just get that and then you get everything, right? Oh, that's cool. Maybe you can even have the sub follow that, you know, that would be pretty cool. As a like a build-up kind of thing. Like a bum 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 bum. We'll just have to make the sub follow that exact. And then we'll just kind of clean up this patch. So we'll just kind of delete it, load up a new one. We'll actually have the face at 0. So it kind of actually repeats that way, which I like. Add an envelope to the pitch. I really want FacePlant. No, FacePlant is for me $100. Yes, but you can get the monthly subscription. Let's do some note tracking. nice to this. Maybe let's add a OTT. Is riddim better than pitch map? To some degrees. Yeah, I mean, both are good. It's like, I think for me, what's more important is like, which one is more usable in a day-to-day case, right? And with riddim only taking like 1 or 2% of CPU, that one's the winner for me. That sounds pretty cool as well. Perfect. Are you remixing basic, right? Basic? I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Who we are? No, that's probably just the same vocal sample that he was probably using in the track. That's like something that happens quite a lot with like splice vocals, is that they get used in actual songs, and then you know, it can happen that the same vocal, you can hear the same vocals in different tracks. Different algorithm, but less CPU intensive. Yeah. You can't find PHASEPLANT. Well, 1 second. Let me just show you why you should probably get it in the subscription, right? Let me grab this over here. Let me put this there. Kilohertz. Okay. And let me go back to Alt 2. Sweet. So the reason why you should probably try not cracking this is because you have a pretty good deal here. Unless you're obviously maybe in school still and you don't really have a like full-time job or some kind of like financial, I guess like you don't have the pocket to pay. But obviously, if you take a look at like something like PHASEPLANT, Multipass and Snap-Peep, well, Snap-Peep is free currently, which is crazy, right? But if you get if you try to get all of these premium plugins, obviously it's still going to cost you like $400. But you can just get the Kilohertz subscription for $10 a month. You can just get that. So it's like that's less than Netflix right now, right? And you get everything. You get everything. You get everything. I think even all the content banks. So like my preset pack you get as well. And what's really cool about it is that for every 12 months that you subscribe, you get $100 back with a Kilohertz coupon. So that means if you subscribe for 4 years, you'll be able to buy this for free, right? Yeah, but I'm a bit too young in my country. I can't get a credit card. You need to be 16. I think you can pay with PayPal. I believe you can just pay with PayPal. I mean, I think every single thing that I bought from them was with PayPal. So you can just do it. I'm pretty sure you can do the subscription through PayPal. As far as I know. And like even as a teenager, you can probably find a way to get at least $10 on your PayPal a month. And you know, after a year, you'll have $100, and you can just buy PHASEPLANT for free when it's at $99 again, of course. But yeah, that's kind of like the subscription model here makes a whole lot of sense, right? It's like a rent to own, but you kind of support them because it's not $120 package coupon, but it's $100. So you still kind of support them for giving you everything that they do. And again, like switching is like switching to this whole system here is great because anything that they add now is just a huge bonus on an already like amazing system that they have going. So I recommend it. Like you could see like this bass right here, for example, right? Obviously we have the M-Morph on here, but this is all just coming from one freaking instance of it. Which is pretty nuts. So like the potential here is obviously big, and if you already use things like Serum and stuff, I would say it's even like at a young age like that, it's still worth it because it's like for $10 a month, like you can probably make that work somehow, right? Like you're probably paying something else that you're paying probably a lot more for, like for example, obviously like phone data and stuff. It's like at least in Germany it's quite overpriced. So, you know, there's always ways to make ends meet. And if you really like PHASEPLANT, I would highly recommend it. want to pay something, I want to afford that. Oh, so yeah, obviously if you'd have to ask your parents, then you would have to explain them this whole system and why it's good and why, yeah, it's a lot more difficult if you're dependent on on your parents in that way. I get that then. Yeah, I probably would have never got my mom to buy me anything music related. I mean, maybe, but probably not plugins. It's difficult to get people to, I mean, at least your parents to get stuff like that, because they'll be like, oh, what even is that, you know? I get that. So I need to trigger this with the... And there's something is off here. Like it's here. It's because he thinks making music is a scam. JK. Oh no, yeah, I get why a lot of people, a lot of parents, you know, are very skeptical. Skeptical, yeah, about that, because they don't understand how you would how you would make money, right? You would have to understand all the distribution stuff, the shows and everything. You would have to explain them, and why obviously being independent means that you have to kind of like manage your own finances, and you don't get like a normal monthly payday kind of thing, right? It's a big mess, but it's definitely like really cool to do. And Nasco, where can I get the Ableton skin that you're using? I believe if you type in Nasco Ableton skin, it's probably here. This is my skin. So, people have voted for it, and Cosmo says is nice. Yeah, that's the skin right here, and then this is the red and blue kind of style. And if you go to preferences, and you can, this is all the color intensity. If you take, for example, if you take the color intensity off, it just looks very brown. So turning that up kind of makes it look like Discord, which is really nice, because I like using Discord, so everything looks nice and clean. Morph is fucking crazy. Yeah, I mean, we're already multiband compressing it. And then we get to the drop. And then here as well, we can just really cool kick, but we can try and focus on with the very, very first one. So out of these like trapping kick drums here in this. As you can see, these aren't like just clean trap drums because they actually have like proper transients and everything. Even I think the first one still has a like actual transient. But you know, having an actual transient just kind of helps these trap drums to stand out in a dubstep drop because everything's obviously super loud, right? So if you, for example, let's take a look at the size scope here. Let's quickly master this. So I'm going to send, this is the pre-master. The drums are being sent directly to the master, hopefully. Now they are. We're going to use an ozonate on the master, on the pre-master. And there's a very, very important thing that we need to do now, or that we need to change. And that is to, let me grab a hertz limiter. Throw that on there. Turn up the vector. And the ozonate, you know how we usually do multiband compression, right? But there's a big catch about doing this. It's 120. There's a big catch about just kind of leaving everything as it is, because you have to think about how. Let's switch this over to an analog here so we can actually do a little bit more. So the way we have to think about this is, why are we compressing the sub? Can anyone tell me why the hell we are compressing the sub when we do a multiband compressor on the master? Do we have to compress, like what, like why? Tell me why. Why are we compressing the sub on the master? Why are we the literal only thing that we're compressing here is the separate subs sub, right? So that's all the sub that we can hear. So why the hell are we compressing the sub? Right? It's like a question that I asked myself once on the live stream, is like, why are we even doing that? And funnily enough, a big issue there is if you take a look at, for example, something like Psyscope as a you can see that our sub is really suffering from that compression. If we take out the parallel on this, for example, to 20%, look at the sub there. That's what it's supposed to look like. If we have the parallel all the way up, the sub just gets demolished. You can even have it off. Probably have it up to like 20%. So like, we don't really have to compress the sub all that much because it's usually just a sine wave anyways, if you think about it that way, right? But we'll lose so much volume. So we can just turn it down that way. And then for the actual like bands here, we don't have to change the input or output here. All we have to do is just pull all the thresholds up all the way. And start turning it down slowly. Until we have a good amount of compression. Probably around there. I like that. And that's about it. Now the sub is nice and strong. Maybe we can give turn up the output a little bit. Turn on this up a little bit. Now everything's flat again. Can I have your Discord? I think you can just click on the tipping button in the description and that'll give you a link to the Discord as well. May I ask you a favor? Would you give the presets that you made in PHASEPLANT int and snap people like OTT and stuff? I got lost in the streams. Actually, you can get them on the Patreon. So the new Empower rack that I made for PHASEPLANT. This thing here, this thing right here. If we solder this. Wow, there's a big difference in the on the. That's like nothing. And I'm with it. So that and power and also NOTT. We can duplicate that. You can get both of them on the Patreon now because we're doing monthly Ableton and Snap Heap Racks now. And there we go. Cool. Well, with that being said, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Everyone who's from the Patreon, I'll see you guys on Sunday, hopefully, when we do the exclusive live stream. And other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed the this little thing that we did here with PHASEPLANT. And hopefully, I have inspired some of you to try it yourself. And maybe get a subscription or something like that, because it's such a awesome software. But yeah, other than that, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and see you guys next week in the next Friday live stream. And there's definitely new music coming soon, right? That's very important now. We're getting to the phase where we're going to start releasing new stuff. So other than that, oh, this is so good. Try and do the things you did literally right now. Thanks. This is so awesome. No problem. Anyways, I'll see you guys next week. You guys have a good night.